It's Sunday night, and it is the Georgia Show. Welcome in here. We appreciate you. Jake Roos and Rusty Mansell with you this evening after a very, very convincing evening in Sanford Stadium. Georgia takes to the field, and really, Rusty just puts on a dominant show. We'll open it up, horns down, dominating Texas 35-10. A contest, Rusty, that was never in question. Georgia dominated from the onset and never relented, and just kind of, we use the old phrase on the on the message board sometime, BTA, man. And it involves a belt if you don't know what that means. But they really got after this team, Rusty. And it was one of the more complete performances that we've seen from Georgia all season. To do that against a team the caliber of Texas, I think all the more impressive.
I was looking at the drive charts by each team, and you look at Texas, they go field goal, punt, interception, punt, half, punt, touchdown, punt, downs, end of game. Like that's it. They had a touchdown on a short field, and they had a field goal, had a nice drive, 14 plays. And then they, their drive chart is 3 plays, 4, 7, pick, 3 out, 1 play, 6 plays, 3 plays, ball game. And, I will say this for Texas up front, they were tough. Their defensive line was tough. It gave Georgia some fits in the run game and never really kind of got going there. So if you look at Georgia's drive chart, Georgia goes touchdown, punt, interception, touchdown, ran the clock out for a punt, basically. And just got things figured out. I think the biggest play in the game was the 4th down. Kirby went for it there on their side of the field. What a hell of a play call there by Mike Bobo, because they line up unbalanced. They flip-flop Monroe Freeland. You think, okay, and Josh and McCray's in the game. So you're like, okay, here it comes. You can see it from a mile away. I watched the replay today, and Texas shifts. And they took advantage of Colin Simmons there getting up the field and losing contain and getting out ball on the flat there. But once Georgia converted that, they go on to score. And then God knows where that onside kick came from.
My goodness. That was kind of cold-blooded, to be honest with you.
That was some stones. Talked to a staffer after the game down on the field, just and talking to some people, and they were like, yeah, we tried to get Kirby to do it to start the game. Like, they tried to get him. They won the toss. They kicked off. They tried to get Kirby to do that to start the game. And think about that. You know what I mean? Had to do that then, but they stole possession. They stole possession at the right time, because nobody in America thought that was about to happen. And certainly those two frontline guys from Texas, you can see them bailing. They take 3 steps back, and it was just too late. It was a great kick by Pedro Woodring, just on the money, man. So, that was, and Texas was on the field too much at that point. Georgia just played bully ball with them, and hard to believe, man. 35-10, another victory over Texas, and that was that fourth quarter was they beat them up pretty good there.
I should say so. Rusty, you mentioned that they kind of pulled some things out that we hadn't seen, and it was great to see that. I mean, Georgia took the role of the aggressor, and I think that they've often been accused of, kind of going into the turtle mode, right? Just retreat into the shell, and that was not the case, man. They absolutely kind of got after it in this one. We've got to talk about the performance of Gunnar Stockton. 24-29 on the day, 8 of 8, 2 touchdowns after the interception. And I'll tell you this, I thought from watching it on TV, I thought that kid just made a hell of a play. I mean, Gunnar was trying to make a play himself, but Anthony Hill comes back. He's a good player in his own right, very good player. And but Gunnar Stockton, 4 touchdowns on the day, Rusty, 83% completion percentage. In the biggest moments, Gunnar Stockton continues to do what Gunnar Stockton does, man.
Yeah, listen, I want to credit Mike Bobo again, because this was one of those games where you saw Gunnar Stockton under center more than you usually see that. And they were running a lot of bootleg stuff with him and with the tight ends and kind of using that aggression to Texas to their disadvantage. And the tight ends were getting balls there. The running backs out of the flat were getting balls there because of that. Man, Texas was crowding the box, and they basically said, "You're not going to run the football on us. We're going to make Gunnar Stockton beat us," and he did. And I made that comment on our board today that Gunnar Stockton is a guy that now has become worrisome if you're another team. Like early on in the year, you wanted to put everything on Gunnar Stockton. Let's let Gunnar Stockton beat us. Now you're like, we gotta account for him on every play. And I think sound like Gunnar was a little extra chippy last night. Talking to some folks today, sounds like Gunnar at halftime had a few choice words his mother may not approve of, but he challenged some people, and you don't see that publicly, but sounds like the Texas guys were talking. They were chippy, a little bit chippy, and that's okay. It's big boys. It is. I don't think Texas played dirty, but sounds like Texas was pretty wordy. That's the best way to say it. And I think Gunnar, he kind of had some words with some players. And I saw Elijah Griffin, walking off the field, and I just kind of nodded to him. I said, "Hey, you and 52, y'all had some words." He goes, and he said something else. So they got chipped. It's two really good teams, man. And Georgia they took it to them, man. They took it to them. I kind of thought it could lead that way. But I didn't know defensively, what Georgia – I said in my prediction, if Georgia gets to 30, they're winning this game. And they got to 35, and ultimately that was plenty enough.
Oh, absolutely. Somebody on the board said it yesterday, Rusty, and there's kind of been, I guess, a little bit of an undercurrent. You see it mentioned from time to time, and I don't know that I bought into it initially, but somebody brought up the idea of Gunnar's got some Stetson to him. And I initially kind of balked at that because look, Stetson Bennett, right? I mean, he's kind of he's the greatest quarterback in Georgia history. He's got 2 national championships, but there is something in Gunnar that week to week, and Jake even pointed out too, to say a lot of those games Stetson was in were big wins for Georgia. They were kind of blowing teams out. Gunnar has shown time and time again just not only resilience, but just a steeliness to his game. And, he comes back from the pick, and like I said, he's perfect after 8 of 8. He is a guy, we talk about short memory in this game a lot. Mm-hmm. He looks to have one of the shortest memories of anybody I've seen play that position for Georgia in a long time.
Yeah. That, like you just said, the ball that Hill picked off, it was a great job. He dropped in coverage. What do? You look for a crosser. He stepped right into it. Happens. When you throw that many balls in a season, his 3rd interception, one of them was a tip ball. So really his 2nd interception to me, when you do something like that, Gunnar's growing with confidence, man. I'm telling you. He's got all the tools. He can do this. That throw he made, the first touchdown pass he threw to Noah Thomas in the end zone was an absolute straight BB. And you look at the DB, if you watch the replay, the DB from Texas, I mean, he's literally got about this much room to throw it in. And the DB from Texas just looks at the sideline like, what else can I do? You know what I mean? That was, it was a good route by Noah Thomas, but the ball that Gunnar, it shows the RPMs he's got. Does he have the biggest arm that's ever played at Georgia? No, but he's damn sure got a good arm. I don't know where that came in that he doesn't. I think some of the accuracy sometimes, but
I believe it was the one the throw that stood out to me the most yesterday in that regard, Rusty, in terms of touch, was probably that. I think it was Delp that he hit in triple coverage. And yes. I mean, he absolutely just layered that thing in beautifully. And to be honest, that was not something I feel like we saw at the beginning of the season. But he has really progressed week to week into a point now where, like you said, he's creating some nightmares for some of these guys, man.
Yeah, now they see him in the run game. Like that touchdown he threw to Lucky, where he basically faked a quarterback sweep and everybody comes flying up. And as soon as they fly up, he just drops it over the top. Like, that's hard to defend, man. And it's just they're playing good at the right time. I don't want to get too far out over your skis, so to speak, but this team right here, from the start of the season to where they are, if you take last year's team to the level that last year's team was like this, it was just kind of here.
Yeah.
This team right here is going like this. I mean, they're trending up, they're getting better, they're gaining confidence. Somebody asked me today, said, "Can you tell me that Georgia can win a national championship?" And my response is, I tell you this, I don't know that I want to play Georgia in a one-game setting.
Yeah.
I would not want to play Georgia in a one-game setting. That would give me big-time worry. Now, you look at this, and Georgia would have to win probably 3 now. And I'm not sure Georgia's going to be in that first-round playoff game. That's another whole discussion. Minimum, you got to win 3 to win it all, or 2 to get there if you don't have the first round. I just think Georgia would be hell to deal with. I just think, man, that would I don't care who it is. They can beat anybody. Now, can they run the table? That we'll see. But if I'm Georgia and I'm playing Georgia, it's a bad deal for a one-game setting, especially having to deal with Gunner and the way he's playing right now.
Let's flip it over to the defensive side of the ball, Rusty, because I think there were some guys who really kind of popped off in this one. Quintavious Johnson and Gabe Harris were 2 guys who jumped off the page to me. And that was, again, one of those things early in the season, right? They struggled with the pass rush. Now they seem like they're really kind of catching some stride. Quintavious Johnson especially looks like things are slowing down for him in a big way, and he is going to be hell to deal with the rest of the way.
Yeah, physicality there, man. He is he's a guy on the edge that it's hard to believe that kid played high school quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a guy, he gave Texas fits last night with early penetration, taking on guards, and he's a big kid now. And he is he's really coming on. You look at that early in the season, you go, okay, sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not. But I mean, that guy is he's a wrecking ball, and he's a big dude, man. He's 6'4". I mean, he's played great. What about Zayden Walker? What about number 10? I mean, number 10 is giving them something they haven't had all year, in my opinion. He is a guy that is winning on the edge. And last night, they turned him loose now. Number 10, he is very young. And this guy's basically played probably 20 snaps of, I would say, meaningful football. And they turned him loose last night. That's a true freshman. They turned him loose on the edge. One time he gets a strip sack. A couple times he had pressures. One time they dropped him into coverage. I mean, this guy was a 5-star, but I mean, obviously he's having to learn and play. So I think Zayden Walker and DeMello Jones, are two guys that you got to be excited about. That are guys that are taking over real minutes.
Zayden, to me, he wears that 10, but there's a bit of 11 to his game. He reminds me of Jalen Walker, and one of those, a guy that you just put out there and you say, look, go do what you do, man. We're not trying to coach you too much here. Like you seem to have a pretty decent handle on what you should be up to. And I think that if Georgia chooses to use him in that way, I think he can be super effective.
Well, I'll tell you what they're doing. I mean, they're just saying, what's the movie Stand By Me, the junkyard dog Chopper? When they tell Chopper to, you go get him, Chopper. You sick 'em, Choppers, basically, for another term. That's where he goes. Somebody mentioned in the comments about Zayden's not 4 inches taller than Jalen Walker. Zayden Walker's probably 6'2.5", but he's real long, and he's got real long, like he is a long dude. The kid is committed to Georgia right now, Nick Abrams. Nick Abrams, I think, 6'2", 6'3", but he's got an 83 wing. And, that's where the versatility for Georgia, playing inside backer and then come on the edge. But Zayden Walker's a long dude. Now, I'm not trying to say he's Jalen Walker right now, because Jalen Walker was a top 10 first round pick and super freak. But Zayden Walker, man, it's exciting for this year, because right now they're just letting an athlete be an athlete, and they're comfortable putting him out there, and he's only going to get better.
We've got some folks talking about. I like this comment from Light Dog. He said CJ Allen left and you didn't even notice it. That was true. Now we've got several people asking about CJ and Bowens. What's the latest there, Rusty? Heard anything?
I think Bowens is fine from what I heard. CJ, I don't know. I know I've had a million people text me and people on the board, and I'm real careful with that. The honest part of it is, you see him last night. I'm on the field. We're waiting for all the interviews. We're waiting for everybody. So I'm down there an hour and a half after the game. And, players are walking to the buses and trickling out. And he comes by on a golf cart, had his hoodie on, head down. You just hate to see something like that. But you don't know. You don't know if it's a 2-week deal. You don't know if it's where – I don't know that. I know Jake Rowe posted some stuff on our board, and we will have something within the next 24 hours. I just don't want to speculate there with that, because there's an MRI involved and some of those things. But it's unfortunate, man, because he was playing his best football. And this is a guy that, probably is playing himself into a first-round draft pick. This is not going to – whatever it is not going to, hurt him too bad there. But you want to see him get back and be that guy. But Justin Williams was a 5-star. You know what I mean? So, Chris Cole was a 5-star. But what hurts is they like to rotate those guys, and now you don't have that depth. You know what I mean? Right. Now you don't have – how much is Zayden Walker going to play? I would imagine, and Terrell Foster is the guy that's played a lot too. So there's a lot of guys there that are going to have to work in, but they're certainly not better without CJ Allen. I can promise you that. He is the clear leader. He is the clear leader maybe of the team. So you want him back, but you recruit at a high level because of things like that, and maybe he'll be back sooner than later.
Yo, it's Modelo season. And perhaps you enjoyed a few Modelos last night in celebration. The last couple of weeks, you've been able to enjoy the light, crisp, and refreshing taste of Modelo out of joy, not out of panic as you were maybe early on in the season. Modelo is the official beer of the college football playoff. So go out, grab yourself a 12-pack of Modelo for this upcoming weekend against Charlotte. Sit back and enjoy the weekend, man. You should have a good one this upcoming weekend. They are a fantastic light cerveza, and we'll get you where you need to go. Please do drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois. Rusty, the big question, because it seems to be the case, are the Dogs getting hot at the right time? I feel like we would be remiss to say no. They certainly look like they have turned a corner even since that Florida bye week. I think that things are – you mentioned the trajectory, and it continues to climb week to week. You wondered, okay, look, Mississippi State – you've got them out talented, right? You have a deeper bench than them. You're going to be able probably over time to wear them down, even though they've had some success in this league and keeping games tight over the course of this year. Texas is a bit of a different animal. In terms of stack them up 1-to-1, there's probably a lot of pushes in that, in terms of who you would take and who you wouldn't. So now, this, though, looks like Georgia is kind of firing on all cylinders right when they should be. And I think you alluded to it earlier. In the one-game setting, I don't know that a lot of teams want this Georgia team right now.
I mean, for me, I think it's maybe the right word is hot. I just think they continue to get better. You know what I mean? Sometimes when I think hot, like, okay, they had a hell of a game, and next week they're going to take 2 steps back. They have continuously played, and again, I told you guys they took Florida's best shot, and that was whatever happens down there that's the damnedest thing you've ever seen in that place. Sometimes it happens to Georgia, sometimes it happens to Florida. Crazy stuff has happened in that building. But you take the Ole Miss game offensively for Georgia, they've been on a roll. Mississippi State, they got out and got rolling both sides of the ball. Defense, another strong outing last night against, God knows what Texas has got. Take out the money side on defense. I can't imagine what Texas has in that offense money-wise.
Sure.
Like, good Lord. Like that. Those guys are there's a lot of coin on the offensive side of the ball, and Georgia defensively just really and truthfully they gave up a touchdown on a short field. They wouldn't have given up one, and so I just think Georgia continues to get better, and what happens is that's really that's easy for a locker room to feed on. You start going, okay, this is what we do every week, and we're going to get after your ass on Saturday, and then now everybody knows. How Georgia's going to finish in the fourth quarter. And as a team, they know how they can play in the fourth quarter. I mean, and they've turned it on earlier, but when that damn fourth quarter comes around, this team, that switch they flip on it's pretty wild.
Yeah, no, there's something to like, when we saw that with Bowens a couple weeks back, right? Like there's some fresh legs to all of this. Zayden Walker, another example of that. You mentioned he hadn't played a lot of meaningful football to this. Suddenly he's out there and he's flying around at a different speed because he hasn't been taking bumps all season. Yeah. I mean, he's able to kind of, gatta a little bit in a way that some guys aren't, who have been taking hit after hit and running into guys all season. The bench is deep, man, and I think that it is really impressive for Georgia in that way. We've talked about like this team compared to last year, and like you said, kind of the leveling off. It kind of plateaued last year. It never really increased. This team week to week is getting better. You saw them be resilient early in the season, and then you saw them against Mississippi State be dominant, and then you saw them against a Texas team that's good be dominant once again. I think that there's probably a lot of people out there kind of shaking their heads about what this Georgia team can do moving forward. Personally,
there's a lot of Georgia fans that have been really wrong about it.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, I'm sitting beside our good buddy Jordan Hill, last night, and that's our good friend. He works for a former place we were all at. It was so funny last night because on their message board, he's sitting there, and when Texas scored to make it 14-10, guy pops on their board and says, "Game over. We'll never score again, and Texas is about to run us out of the building." And that's the knee-jerk reaction stuff to like that is those game threads, or doesn't matter what site you're on, the game threads are peaks and valleys. It's okay that you had some questions. I did too. I said it from the start about Gunner. I said, guys,
this is not the same team that started this season. I mean, it is a completely different looking team.
No, they're just a hard ass team, man. This team, I know for a fact that Kirby loves this team. I promise you, I know that Kirby loves this team. I knew that Kirby liked this team in May. Kirby didn't know what the wins and losses were going to be, but as far as the makeup, this is a pretty damn close team together. And then when you go through the battles, when you go through something like Tennessee together, when you go through an Alabama loss, and it's the way that game ended, and you come right back and you beat, an Auburn team, and then you go through that Ole Miss deal where they really needed that defense to step up. Like, we need you. And you saw Nate Frazier go to C.J. Allen in that piece and said, "I need you. We need you right now." And C.J. Allen said, "We got you." Little stuff like that, man. Some teams are different. I thought about it on the way home today from Athens. I thought, man, of all the damn teams that Kirby's had, if this one winds up winning it all, this is the damnedest thing, man. I mean, and they very well could now. I'm telling you. I'll say this too. Coaching matters more than it ever has. Coaching matters more than it ever has. And are they perfect? No. But by God, Mike Bobo and Glenn Schumann have had, I looked at our Texas site today, and one of their lead writers basically wrote today. He said Mike Bobo had our defense. He said he had them. He put them he just put them in a corner and stuffed them in a locker, especially the second half. And that's somebody else's perspective, not ours. But I know that middle 5 possessions, you wanted to do better there, but when they needed the answers, they went and got them. And I think a lot of it has to do with Gunner Stockton. I think Gunner Stockton gives you so much flexibility, and you can see the growth out of him. I had a chance to see his mom and dad yesterday morning, just bumped into him, known them for years and years. And they're just enjoying a ride. They're still extremely humble, but you can tell, you got to be damn proud because behind the scenes, they know everything he's went through. They know the patience he has shown, the growth he has shown, who he is as a person, who he is as a kid. I wish I could repeat some of the stuff I heard he said at halftime, but listen, maybe his mom don't need to hear that stuff. But good for him, man. And that's why that particular locker room is excited about him being quarterback. And listen, it very well could have been Ryan Puglisi at some point. And I think Ryan Puglisi is wired a lot like Gunner. I think Ryan Puglisi is wired now. Obviously, it's Gunner's team, and it will be Gunner's team right now. But I think both of those kids that play for Georgia right now are wired very similar.
Speaking of the future at the quarterback spot, 2 new commits in the mix this weekend. Noah Parker out of Macon County, 2027 running back, 3-star guy. It's been a minute since they pulled a guy out of Montezuma. I believe Roquan Smith, the last that they got. I like the tape, Rusty. I turned on the tape of this kid. I think he runs hard. And look, for the offer watchers, he's got them. He's got the offers too. No, so, don't be fooled by the 3-star ranking. This is a guy that a lot of teams really like, and Georgia able to get him in the mix for the class of 2027. Have you had a chance to see this kid in person?
I have not seen him in person. I have seen some tape. Listen, I don't know the Georgia board like 1, 2, 3, or 4. He has been a take since the day they offered him. Okay, so I'm not worried about and all the rankings and I give our guys, they'll want to see him in person and run and all that kind of thing. This guy was a take for Georgia. He was an in-state, and you look at Andrew Beard, at Prince and some of these other guys. I mean, this is a deep in-state class. Nigel Newkirk up at Gainesville. I mean, I don't know that Georgia has to go outside the state in 27 for running back, which is really good news. And but this young man is a really good player. It's funny, the first time I went and saw Roquan Smith play, I saw Roquan Smith play Heard County. Heard County had a 14-year-old quarterback by the name of Emory Jones.
I remember Emory Jones well.
Very first game he ever started. He wasn't supposed to start. And I walked up, and Tim Barron was the head coach at Heard County. Roquan was a senior playing running back.
Yeah, I remember that.
Roquan was playing tailback. And I walk up, and he said, "Hey, I know you're here to see Roquan." I said, "Okay." He goes, "But I'm going to start this 9th grader tonight." He goes, "Rusty, he's 14 years old, Emory Jones." And I was like, "Okay." And played pretty damn good. I think he's still tucked away in NFL somewhere. But Roquan, going back to that, seeing him at Macon County, that guy was something else. And I'll take those Montezuma kids. I can assure you that.
Listen, ain't nothing sweet about Montezuma. That is, they get it out the mud down there in Macon County. No question about it.
Oh yeah.
But on the flip side, in 2028, Georgia also now on the board again. Asa Wall, the first commit, but now the nation's top overall prospect in the class of 2028, Jaden Wade, a quarterback out of IMG Academy. A guy that, listen, I know what people are going to say, and I get it. 2028 is forever away. 2027 is forever away in terms of guys signing or whatever. Jaden Wade saying a lot of the right things. Georgia loves him. He loves Georgia. This is the kind of guy, Rusty, that it's a long way off, but you're right to be excited about. Go watch the tape, man. He's got a live arm. He can move. He's playing with some of the best players in the nation and against some of the best teams in the nation down there at IMG Academy. Just a guy who, God, you go Jared Curtis in this class, and then 2 classes later, if you get this kid in the mix, man, suddenly that quarterback room is erasing some of the questions people might have had.
Not going to beat around the bush here. Long way to go with that.
Yeah,
but I will say that Mike Bobo locked in on this kid, and I was told one of the most impressive kids ever on the board. Like blew Georgia away. What he knew, like they're reading coverages, and he's pointing stuff out and showing this, and they were like, "Wait a minute now, hold up now." And this guy probably was the clear target for 2028. So will he reclass? I don't know. That's the first question I got today. Don't know that, but this kid's going to be the number 1 quarterback in that class unless somebody just crazily, makes a jump, which could happen. But I think it's a huge deal. And listen, you take that kid. If he wants to commit right now, you take it.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
you got World War III on your hands, okay, down the line, but heck yeah, man, you take a kid like that who's you're comfortable with, you got your scouting report, and he was a take for sure.
The science says that guys who commit more often than not do stick. I mean, I know it doesn't feel like that a lot of times, and you remember the ones you miss and the ones that flip, but at the end of the day, guys who commit largely do stick by their commitments. We'll see, man. Like I said, long time to go. I'm not sitting here telling you that this is a slam dunk by any stretch.
Well, it's like Zayden Walker and like Elijah Griffin and those guys. You know, like if they would have waited till the end and made you sweat it out, everybody here would have been drinking Modelo. You know what I mean? Those guys commit, like Zayden Walker committed. He already took another visit. Like this was the number one linebacker in America. You know what I mean? So sometimes it happens, and that's a good thing. We'll see. Long way to go, but this kid is really, really talented, and he really has a great relationship. His family, Mike Bobo, went down there a couple of times, and then he was in Athens several times this summer throwing for Georgia.
Absolutely. Guys, myperfectfranchise.net, the place to go if you're looking to change things up in your business and personal life. They can set you up with a number of different franchise opportunities. And Andy Ludicky and the team over there have experience doing just this, okay? They've done it themselves. They're entrepreneurs. They've gone through the franchise process. They know it in and out. And now they're working to get you set up with your perfect franchise. Get over there today. They have a number of different options of franchises, not just fast food, something like that. You can switch things up, and they can help you do it. And their services are 100% free to you. Nothing to lose. Get over myperfectfranchise.net. Rusty, it's Charlotte week, which doesn't have quite the ring of Texas week. But
I can't wait to hear Kirby tomorrow going, look, guys.
Got a lot of respect.
Listen, they're 1-7, but 3 of those games could have went either way.
A lot of respect, man.
Yeah.
What's Georgia going to be up to this week in your mind, Rusty? How do they kind of handle? This is, we can call it what it is. This is an expected win by some measure. I haven't even seen the line on this. They probably haven't even released one on this one yet. They're still calculating it, but. How does Georgia kind of handle a week like this? Do you maybe get a little bit of prep in for Georgia Tech? I know they never admit to it, but
let me give you a BS answer. Let me give you a real answer. Charlotte's going to get about a day and a half, and Georgia Tech's going to get about a day and a half.
Yeah,
and that's just the way it is. And they'll do advanced prep. I think somebody told me that I trust kind of over there that when Ole Miss played Washington State, they were a day and a half of Washington State, and then they were 2 days of Georgia. They almost got beat by freaking Washington State because of it, and then they did lose to Georgia. So, but this is a different team when Washington State and Charlotte. But Georgia will probably work, I would say, Monday, Tuesday, good bit. But I would be surprised if Georgia didn't put in a day and a half at least on Georgia Tech, because there's just so much that Buster will throw at you offensively. There's so much different. It's so much run game and misdirection, and the problems they've had 2 years in a row with that team. And here's the thing too. Now, if you think about it, they got a short week next week,
right?
So they'll practice Sunday. They'll play Charlotte Saturday, and they'll come back and practice Sunday afternoon because of the short week. So it's a little different. It's a little different scenario, but they'll get their work in. But that's a team they should handle business. It doesn't need to look like UMass. UMass basically summed up damn Georgia last year. You get into a damn 2.5 quarter game with UMass, last year, and you're like, what is going? They couldn't stop UMass running the ball. By the way, I think that kid went to that running back. I think he went to Ohio State or Minnesota. He left there. I knew that day he did that against Georgia. that dude's gonna be somewhere next year, and he ended up somewhere. So, no. But I know he went to Big Ten, but they'll be ready. Kirby's not going to let anybody overlook anybody, and but this is a team you should get to see a lot of the young kids for sure.
Absolutely, probably a heavy dose of Zayden Walker this week. I bet we see some Elias Williams out there. Thomas Blackshear got a snap against Texas. I'd like to see a little bit of him too. You would hope that you get to see a good amount of Ryan Puglisi, because they'll throw the ball.
Kirby's going to make reps count. You want to see Bo Walker. You want to see Landon Roldan. You want to see all those guys. You know what I mean? You want to see everybody talks about because some of these kids that haven't played a ton, they can play Saturday and not burn a red shirt.
Sure.
So, maybe Isaiah Gibson, some of those guys get in and play. Everybody wants to talk about and see, and some of those guys. So Chase Linton will be a guy that I bet you see some reps at edge this week too.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, we appreciate you tuning in this evening here to the Georgia Show. We'll be back with you later this week. We got a DawgsHQ. We got Plus coming this week, Rusty.
Yeah, Plus got a Dog Talk Live. And everybody that came to Indigo tonight, man, that was awesome. Thank you. There was a lot of people there. Man, Athens was they shut down the damn airport.
Yeah, right.
Wow, man. Athens was crazy amount of people just everywhere. Like, it's a home game, but I think there were a lot of people there, Bruce, that didn't have tickets that were just there.
Sure.
I will say this too, and I would have said this with a loss. Promise you I would have. I met a ton of Texas people. Man, they were damn good people, man. They were at Hotel Indigo Friday night. I met a bunch of them yesterday at tailgates. I met a bunch of them. They were real good. They were real good people, man.
I imagine they had themselves an all right time, all things not game considered. Guys, appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, we'll be back with you later this week.
I got one last question. Can I get 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Ask him about Bowden Sohn. He is playing, and I heard he's having a great year. I don't know his stats, but you did ask me on DawgsHQ the other day, and I just texted somebody. I said, making sure that he is playing this year. Some schools you can't find nothing on. And response I get back is having a really good year. So he is playing, and he's doing well.
And reaffirmed his commitment to Jeremy Johnson as well. So that's
he's all good. All good, man.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We will catch you later on this week. Get over and hang out with us at DawgsHQ as well. We'll be live on the message board all week, just like we are, man. We don't sleep. I can assure you of that. Not during the season. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you soon.